That's right. How you doing this afternoon? Hey, I'm Ann Eller. We are live on the radio. We are live on Facebook Live. And we are here in studio with Penny, Ann, and Dr. Daniel Crockett, who is the superintendent of schools over there at Ware, Shoals, and up and coming. I tell you what, I'm excited to see what is happening over at Ware, Shoals. They have been growing and changing, and I thought it would be well worth the time to sit down and talk with them, because not only is their school doing well, but they have the $1 Million Band, which you might ask, what is a $1 Million Band? But they also have a opportunity. Well, actually, it's not an opportunity. They're going to Pearl Harbor. Their band was selected. So we are very blessed to have Christy Hodge here. She is the band director. She has been a public educator for 28 years. She serves as the director of bands in the Ware Shoals School District, where she's taught for 19 of those years. Dr. Daniel Crockett, he has been at Ware Shoals. But he's been other places too. He's been a teacher, a coach, a principal, chief academic officer. What else have you done here, Daniel?
Chief bottle washer.
Bottle washer.
Yeah, that's fine. That's right. Yeah.
And you're in your third year as the district superintendent, and it is my pleasure to welcome you here today.
Thank you, Miss Ann.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. I tell you, I know you're the voice of Greenwood, but you also have the heart of Greenwood too. And I know we've worked on projects together. Right. And you've been in our little town and helping out in several different projects and getting us connected with opportunities to support us. So it's an honor to spend some time with you. So thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, today isn't just about a band. It's about a community, a vision, and what's possible when people believe in their young people. Sure. And I think, Daniel, what is happening in Ware Shoals? There's been a lot of positive news coming out lately. What's driving that?
I think there's an intentional focus from staff, from our teachers, incredible teachers, and with our administrators, an intentional focus on making sure that we identify that unique individual gift that each child possesses. And it's not for us as a school system to force them into a mold, but rather we believe that they have a given talent, and it's for us to make sure that they understand some core content. Of course, that's outlined by the state, but also to make sure that they have opportunities to kind of bring polish and identify what those skills are and refine those skills, so that eventually they'll put them to work, and that's when they'll find purpose in life, and that's when they'll find joy in life and in their future families. And I think that's kind of our focus right now, is making sure that kids have these opportunities.
Well, such as what type of opportunities are you trying to invest in and look at to help help the students?
Yeah. I think it's one of the future. We're really future focused and intentional with that. We're just naive enough to fully believe that what we do today and the work that we pour into our district today is really going to have an impact down the road. And we know that when our students are going to graduate from us, that very likely within 5 to 6 years after they graduate, there's going to be 4K kids walking in, and so that's part of it. We know if we're going to pour into our graduates, our students, that when they leave us, they'll be better educated. They'll be able to understand the importance of reading to their kids. They'll understand that the importance of finding a good career, and we know that that's going to pay dividends for us down the road when that next 4K student comes in. And so that's what we believe in, and that's what, when we wake up, that's why we work so hard to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward, not only for these kids but for the future of our community as well.
Well, I think you identified something very important, the future of your community, because the future of Ware Shoals has not always been bright. since Regal Mills
That's
left,
right.
it's
That's right.
been a struggle.
Sure.
So to see that positive energy coming back to Ware Shoals, I think, is tremendous.
Well, thank you. I know there's so many opportunities for us, and but I know that sometimes if we have trouble, like the way that we view it is, if we're trying to recruit development, okay, and in some areas, and if that's not quickly taken place, then we believe then we're going to build that ourselves. That we have the students. That we have a building construction science, first time this year, new and innovative.
Building construction science.
Working with a partnership with Piedmont Tech.
Right.
And so they're on our campus. We get 8 kids with tool belts on. And so if that's, we'll help work that. And very soon those have those skills to not only build residential, if we're looking for residential, or build infrastructure.
Now, how did you dream that? How did this dream come together?
I think to be 100% honest with you.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah, let's go with honest. Let's go with honesty today.
Yeah,
okay, that's good.
that.
Let's do that. Okay, and build upon that. I like that. I honestly feel the love for the town, and what can we do as a district to better support our town, support our community, and we believe that through our students and through a really strong education system. Then we can do that. We can do that, and not overnight, but we're doing it K through 12, and prepping them for that.
Well, that's cool. Now, what other programs do you have? You talked about the building one. I know you have some others.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're very thankful for partnerships. And by the way, just a shout out to Greenwood 50, Shane Goodwin, doing an outstanding job in Greenwood 50. Beth Taylor, another really great superintendent in Greenwood 52. I look up to them a lot, and they're doing wonderful things. We all have our unique identities.
Sure.
Very, very unique identities.
Well, they're very different communities.
Very different communities, absolutely. Right. But for us and for us in our community, we're focused on making sure those kids have a well-rounded education. I know that we have a great partnership with the Career Center, Piedmont Tech, Lander. I know that in our district, we have 42% of our kids that are juniors and seniors that are taking either a Lander or Piedmont Tech courses. And we know that for the first time, and sometimes in some of our families, we have a kid that's taking classes at a 4-year institution. So trying to break some of those cycles, and we're all cheering for them. We're all excited for them to be able to do that, but also to make sure that every one of those kids have that opportunity. So we commit to making sure that we bus those kids there. So if it's good for one, and they can afford that one car and the gas money to get there, then it's good for everyone. And so
Sure.
we commit to making sure that all those kids, if they're able to do that, and if they're willing to put the commitment and the time in that it takes to pull off some of those courses, that we'll do that. And so they've been wonderful. I'll tell you about partnerships. It's probably about seven years ago, Piedmont Tech and Lander opening up their doors to dual credit has really transformed it, because we may not have the fancy science lab,
Right.
but we know someone that does, and we're able to get our kids there and experience that, and that's
it takes commitment of the staff and the administration to make that come together too.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure, absolutely.
So it sounds like it's developing into a really good team.
That's right. We issued 74 teacher contracts this year, and we had 73 come back.
Wow.
And so we had really great retention rate. I'm super proud of our teachers and the leadership that guides those schools, and that's always a key for success. In fact, there was one of our schools, our middle school, on the first day, I think it was May 1st, that contracts were issued. Within hours, every contract was returned. Same day. Same day. And they knew that this is what they wanted to do next year. And
that's amazing.
It is amazing, and kudos to the culture that's been established there. And
you don't have the most modern of schools. Now we must discuss that, right?
Right. And but when we work and try to pour ourselves into the schools to make it as glamorous as we can possibly make it.
Right.
It's, of course, there's things that we would love to have, but those are wants. We know what are the needs, and that's the focus on the kids and that experience and the skill set that they have.
Well,
so.
I bring that up because I think so many times we think it's the building that makes the difference.
Right.
It's not the building, right?
Sure,
Is it?
sure.
It's the staff, and it's the pouring into the kids and the commitment.
That's right. I believe that for sure. Yeah.
Well, that is awesome. Now, when I was there the other day, the first thing you told me, if you hear some things screaming in the background, and it's not kids.
Sure.
What was that, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we do for our kids, right? What we do for our students. We do. I'll tell you, there is a Jam Up FFA program at Ware Shoals High. And Allie Kamak, incredible teacher, and not only is she invested in what she's teaching kids, but invested in them outside the classroom. Okay. And so we had the idea of let's see if we can have some goats, and we're like, okay, let's give this a little trial, and they did really well, and the kids loved them, and some of those mama goats, they had some babies, and that was the talk of the school for weeks, and but eventually they were able to see the benefits that nature can provide, and the skill set of goats, and they put them in the kudzu area, and ate all the kudzu that was in a back patch out there, and we discovered things that were hidden for a long time, and moved them to another area, and so that's great, and so now we have some show goats. I saw one escaped a couple days ago,
right,
and that was again the talk of the school, but it's great to give those kids those opportunities. They show pigs, they show goats, they show all sorts of animals, and it's just that's what I'm talking about when it comes time for the natural gift and instincts of kids. And if that's a love for them in that small little pocket, then we're going to bend over backwards to make sure they have that opportunity to do that. And we're just thrilled that we have a teacher that takes them to Clemson on the weekends to show it. It goes over, to the FFA conventions and pours into them, because those are things that kids remember. Yes, they're awesome kids, and yes, they're doing great academically, but they love coming to school, and they love the teachers that are pouring into them.
Well, that's changing a culture right there, where you just said they love coming to school.
Sure.
Sure. That's a huge accomplishment right there, getting kids wanting to come to school, right?
Oh, absolutely. Attendance nationwide is troublesome. We even gauge the statistics of making sure that what percentage of our kids are involved in at least one thing, and trying to expand that every year. But our coaches, incredible what they do and the time they spend with our kids, and our role models for them. And our band director, which has our largest program in the high school.
Sitting right here.
Yeah, that's right. Sitting right here. Yeah,
Christy
absolutely,
Hodge, yes.
Absolutely. And we can give her a time to talk anytime. But yeah, it's special. And
it is special.
The more you pour into it,
the more you get out
the
of
more
it.
bigger return.
I think when you just look at the football field over there,
Yeah.
I mean the historic football
Sure,
field that y'all have over there.
That's right.
What was the movie that it was?
Leatherheads.
Leatherheads, yes. I mean, such cool stuff about Ware Shoals. But you're right. Christy is sitting right here, and do you actually see a purpose come alive in your band room when you're dealing with the kids and everything?
We absolutely have a purpose. We want to succeed. We throw those kids out at state level events.
Throw 'em out? Okay.
We put them out there on the field. We put them on the stage. We put them in individual, auditions for like Region Band and All-State. We even put them in small like chamber ensembles where they play duets and trios, and all of that all year long is adjudicated by national and state level judges. And the purpose is to succeed every single time, and we often mostly do. Yeah.
You told me when we were meeting the other day that, what did you say? You either had to step up or step out. Is that what you told me the other day? I think that is terrific.
I think that did come out of my mouth. I did say that. We just talk a lot about culture in the band program and what the expectation is, and what it takes to be, good bands, better people. we want you to contribute to society. We want you to contribute to our school, and our medium, the way that we do that is through, the musical arts, and we just have a goal of making our kids the best that they can be. Our little corner of the school, so many kids are involved in so many things there, but our little corner, we have our culture and our climate, and we just really want kids to meet that expectation when they're in our program.
I know you said that when they're being judged, it doesn't matter whether they're middle school students or high school students,
correct.
Right?
Most smaller schools use middle school kids to fill out like their marching bands and things like that. And so when you go to a contest, the judges are just watching to see if everyone is in step, if all the lines are straight, if, all the things are working the way they're supposed to be working. And that judge is not going to say, how many middle school kids do you have?
And cut you a break because
right,
you have
no, there are no
kids.
breaks given at all. It doesn't matter if 50% of the band is freshmen and the other band has, 50% of their band is seniors. So our 7th graders have to look like high school kids. They have to sound like high school kids, which makes them better players because they have to step up. You'll go to, we have middle school band students who are not in marching band, but they just take the band class because they're involved in other things, like they play football or, they have other things that they're really good at. So they'll say, well, why does so-and-so play so well? And we'll, because they're in marching band, because they have 3 hours a day extra that they're practicing, and honing that craft. They can't throw a football like you can. They can't run plays like you can with your thing that you're really committed to. So, those 7th graders have to really step up the 8th graders, and there is an advantage there. It does make them better players. So, but there are no breaks given from the judges. Zero.
And no breaks given by Christy either, I expect.
Absolutely not. No, ma'am. Absolutely not.
No, I think that's good. I think it's great to have a standard, and it's great to make students aspire to that standard too.
Right.
So I've got to ask you, Christy. I've heard this for years. The $1 Million Band. How did they get are they a $1 Million Band?
Sometimes I think it takes $1 million to run the program. Yeah, definitely. So back in like the 50s and 60s, when Regal Mill was running, the school and the community were much larger, obviously, because that mill was thriving and supporting the community. So band director was Loy Wagner at the time. Loy Wagner is in the South Carolina Band Directors Association Hall of Fame. He left us and went to Palmetto, and then he came back to us. He did 2 stints at Ware, Shoals. But I tell you, every band director in the state knows who Loy Wagner was. He had a phrase. His motto was "Dare to be different," and so he would write DTBT, BTBD at the end of every signature he had. Dare to be different. And so when Loy was the band director in Ware, Shoals, they did some. He was creative. Let's just use that word. He was different. So, in the 70s during the war, they would lay down and spell out the word peace on the ground. I have pictures of the band.
Cool.
He hung chimes bar chimes from the goalpost, and they played the 1812 Overture, and he shot a cannon across the field, across the kids. Like, Loy Wagner he was brave, and he was out there. So he was standing on the corner of the community right there at the town, at the red light, at the town square, and the band was coming down the field for a parade. But we had to outfit a band, we had to uniform a band, we had to get instruments, we had to build a building for the band to practice in. So the culmination of all it took to get the band started, he said, "Whoa, here comes my $1 million band." And it was said as an off-the-cuff comment, as a joke about, what it took. And I guess in today's, if you inflation,
Sure.
everything, you figure out what the cost would be, it might have been nearly $1 million. But that's how it got started. And so he called him his $1 million band, and it stuck. And so when I first came to Ware, Shoals in 2007, they had a different name, and it was Court Esprit. They were the Court Esprit. And so I asked him, can you tell me what Court Esprit means? Because of course we know what it means, but nobody could tell me, what the spirit of the Corps meant. And I said, well, y'all, I've got an idea. Like, these guys won state championships. They were highly successful back in the 60s and 70s. We have multiple state championship trophies from the $1 Million Band. Like, what if we paid respect to the people who came before us, and as a tribute to them, what if we went back to being the $1 Million Band? And they were just all for it. So we know as a band program that we stand on the shoulders of people who come before us. And I tell them all the time, you're going to graduate and we're going to stand on your shoulders. And that clarinet player that's coming along behind you, she's got to play just like you play now as a senior, but you're leaving. So someone else has to come up and take your place. And so we talk a lot about standing on the shoulders of the people who have come before us. And so we love our older $1 Million Band from the 60s. I mean, a lot of those guys are still in town, and they're still, when I was in the band, we went to the Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
Yeah, and so now we have the chance to go march in the Pearl Harbor Day Parade, and all we're doing is standing on the shoulders of the people who laid the foundation for us.
Well, you opened the door to an interesting point. Now, how did Ware Shoals get to be able to go to Pearl Harbor? How did this award, or how did this opportunity come about?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I opened my email one day, and there was an invitation for us to represent the state of South Carolina in the Pearl Harbor Day Parade, and it's from the Historic Productions, who handle the Pearl Harbor Day Parade every year. And so apparently there are students from every state who are in that parade. And it said, due to your marching and concert, excellence, you've been chosen to be a South Carolina representative. And my jaw dropped, and at first I was like, is this like a tourism money making thing? Are they like a tour company? And so we did tons of research, we checked it out, made sure that this is a legit thing, talked to other bands in the state who had done it, and made sure that everything that we could trust it. The band has received, you can get a superior rating, which is the highest rating, but if you get a superior rating from every judge, we call that a superior with distinction. And our seniors graduated last year they have never gotten less than a distinction rating. They got that every year they graduated. And, this past season, they medaled at state finals. They were the state champion bronze medalist. And so you always want to stay humble, and you always want to, credit other people for any success you've had, them before me. But I could believe that those kids' ability had earned them that, because they work hard, and their parents work hard, and our administration to support us works hard, our community works hard, and I think it just all came together for this invitation.
So of course you said, nah, we're not going to be able to go.
I did not.
Okay, Daniel, you said, nah, we're not going to be able to go.
Well, I'll tell you, I know Ms. Hodgin, the principal, had came into my office to kind of share the opportunity. And I think just naturally, if anybody was saying, hey, do we have an opportunity to go take the band and play in the Pearl Harbor Day Parade? I mean, the default answer is always going to be no. Like, no. I'm going to get back to other business that we have here.
Right.
And so that came about, and then I paused for a little bit, and I asked for all the details, and they shared that this is how we can make our marks over a time period, and to be able to pull it off. And the answer still in my head was no, but they're working really hard. And then that evening, it really had to have a conversation with myself, and that is, are we limiting opportunities? And we talked about opportunities, and to be able to pull this off was a really difficult decision. I'm not going to sit here and say every decision's easy. There's
Sure.
lots of difficult decisions to be made, but there was a piece. I mean, I did have a piece at it, and that evening, and then I came back with a different mindset a couple days later and said, what an opportunity for kids in this community. And this is exactly what I'm saying and trying to display, is like, we have great opportunities here. We have
Right.
incredible things that are happening here. And for me to be able just to simply limit that possibility was was something I had to get out of my own way.
Right.
But also we have a very, very supportive school board. And so that was the next step. And so
So the school board believed you. Yeah, we're going to do this.
yeah, all overnight trips are approved by a school board, and so we worked our way through that, and I believe they had the same piece about it, and sure enough, time and time again, we've seen tremendous works of blessings being poured upon this effort, and we're very thankful for that.
Well, Christy, now how long ago did you find out about this?
What
Would you
was
say-
it August, and then we voted on the September board meeting? I think it's been about a year, maybe.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I think I got it like as school was starting, and then of course we had to wait for the next board meeting. So
What did you think when they said, "We'll do it. Let's go for it"?
I honestly, I'll be honest with you.
That's good.
What-
I like honesty.
We're going to go the honest route today. Didn't we decide that? Didn't we
Two
decide
honest
that?
people.
Yeah. Okay. We are two honest people. Okay. I think that I walked away thinking that the school board had given us permission to attempt to raise the money for it.
Okay.
Obviously they had given us permission to go, but what they had said was, okay, go out and start fundraising and see what you can do. And I probably had less of a piece about whether we could make the money than Dr. Crockett did, because I don't think he would have approved it if he didn't think that the money would come through. But I was terrified. I will not lie to you.
Did you figure it out by month or something?
Holy Fazoli Batman. It was $150,000 that we estimated. We just multiplied we didn't know exactly how many kids were going to go. We didn't know exactly how many parents were going to go. We didn't know what plane tickets were going to cost us. We knew that at one point plane tickets were lower, and then all of a sudden plane tickets started going higher. So we really didn't know the exact cost of the trip. So we estimated it between $150,000 and $170,000. And we said, we have 15 months to make this happen. That is a $10,000 per month profit fundraising effort. And then I broke it down more, and I said, that is $2,500 per week that we have to bring in as profit. And then to make the mountain even more grand, I thought about our annual fruit sale. All the bands here in town locally sell fruit. Greenwood High, all of the band directors and I are great friends. Those are wonderful people that head the band programs here in the area. But we all sell fruit, and we might run a sale for 3, 4, 5 weeks in a jam up. We knocked it out of the park year. We might profit $4,500, $5,000. And I thought, I have to double or triple that every month for 15 months. I have to do a 5-week fruit sale and make the top amount we've ever made 15 times. And
So how have you been doing this? How has this been coming together here, Christy?
well, I'm a very faithful person, and I believe there's been a lot of prayer that has gone into this, and I don't believe that the Lord gives you something and then takes it back. I think that with the challenge comes the way, and our community has been so generous. I could just get emotional thinking about how some people have given $1,000, some people have given $3,000, some people have given $5. And because that's what they had. And I promise you, I appreciated that $5 Venmo as much as I appreciated the $3,000. We've had a couple of businesses that have come along beside us. Out of the blue, emails have just come to Dr. Crockett. Our company wants to support your band. Companies we didn't know that we could partner with, that have been new people that, want to support us. So it's been going well. It's been kind of slow at the end. We reached that 100,000 mark. I couldn't believe that a tiny little town of 2,000 people had raised $100,000 in 9 months.
And the largest donation was
$3,000. $11,000 was our largest donation. And can we say who that was from?
Sure.
Sure. The Ware Shoals Community Foundation.
Shout out to the
Shout out to the Community
Foundation.
Foundation. Gave us $11,000.
Wow.
So thankful for them. I didn't know if we wanted to publicize that or not, or if, but so
did.
thankful. Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, with his permission, I did. We're so thankful for them. $11,000 came in. A couple of $3,000 came in, but really it was $100 at a time, $50 at a time.
That's unbelievable that
The volume.
2,000 people could raise that much money.
That they
That's a
cared
commitment.
enough about those kids in that school to make it happen, because they went to the Cherry Blossom Festival, or they didn't go to the Cherry Blossom Festival because they weren't in the original $1 Million Band, but they just believe in kids, and that's the community in Ware Shoals. They just believe in kids, and I believe in kids, and Dr. Crockett believes in kids, and we're somehow going to make this happen for them. We're just going to.
Well, now, when do you have to leave on this trip?
So obviously we want to march in the Pearl Harbor Day Parade on Pearl Harbor. On Pearl Harbor Day. So that'll be December 7th. We're going to leave on the 3rd, and we'll be back on the 9th. We actually leave there on the 8th, 5 nights. But because we're going to be gaining the time zones back, we're not going to arrive back until the 9th.
Right.
So
most of these kids probably have never even been on a plane.
correct, or in a hotel room. Every school, not just Ware Shoals, has students who have never been in a hotel, or certainly on a plane.
Right.
And certainly not, a 6-hour time difference away from their parents. So can we talk about that?
Sure, yeah.
The trust that these parents have placed in us to let us take their children on
Across state lines.
Right.
Several times.
across 50
Time
states.
zones.
Yeah, like how many states is it across from California to South Carolina and all the way to Hawaii? So,
In the ocean. Yeah.
yeah, I may be nervous about that myself. I mean, I had never flown on a plane myself. And we just kept meeting goals financially and being able to make the payments from the trip. And my husband was like, maybe we need to put you on a plane so you know how to navigate LAX when we get there, So my in-laws, I have the best in-laws in the world, but they live in Iowa. So instead of driving to visit this summer, we hopped on a plane and purposefully did a layover so we could see, went through Atlanta because that's one of the largest airports.
Right.
And purposely
So you
got
were
on the
learning.
tram. Yes, and I figured it out, and now I'm good to go.
You're good to go.
The whole backing up on the plane before you, and my, I said, you sit at the window. I don't want to see any of that, but yeah.
So how many students or how many band members should go on this
Yeah, we're
trip?
taking about 40, just right at under 40 kids, and so we've got about. We're taking a lot of chaperones because we want to make sure that kids are chaperoned, and we are going through LAX, which, we want to put them in small groups of 3 or 4. So there's 57 people totally traveling, and complete, me and my assistant band director and some of the band staff members are going because it is a performance. And then, we have about 12 chaperones that are going with us.
Right. And then I understand some of the parents are going
Yes.
extra too.
Yes. Some parents have booked their own flights and their own hotel rooms, and they're coming, but not as part of our group, but they, they want to see their kids. I have a man, he may be listening now, who graduated. He's in my Sunday school class. Have a man, he's a 1968 graduate, Steve Lancaster. Shout out to him. He wants to go because he was in the band. So he and his wife are going to Hawaii to support the
perfect
band.
opportunity.
Right,
Yes.
right. And he's like, let's just go to Hawaii and support the kids. So, great. Yeah, alumni are going with us. And
So what do the kids get to do? What do they actually get to do?
oh, we are we're going to visit the wreckage of the USS Arizona. That's going to be really important to me personally because my grandfather was a World War II veteran. He was on the Iowa, the USS Iowa, and the Toledo. But Pearl Harbor, of course, drug him into the war, and his brother was killed in the war. And I've heard some stories about that. of him being over there.
What do you think about the significance for the kids?
Well, I think if they had the personal touch, that I have with my grandfather, he told me about the time that they met the Sheik of Arabia over when he was in the war. I'm like, you did not meet the Sheik, but he did. Ran into his own cousin on the streets of Japan. Didn't know that the other had signed up. And he was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, oh, well, crazy stories like that. I think that in order that we don't relive history, we have to teach history. And I think that it's important for the kids to see what happened and just so that we don't relive what has happened. But while we're there, we're also going to get to visit some of the tropical places. They're going to, Miss Tyre is very excited about the dole plant.
Dole plant?
Yes, she's very excited about that.
Now they're also going to get to play on the Missouri, aren't they?
They will play a concert on the Missouri, on the deck of the Missouri. They'll march in the parade. There are 2 performances there over 5 days. The itinerary will be spelled out for us day by day as we get closer to the trip.
Sure.
I do think there's one beach day. So they'll actually get to see the Pacific Ocean, which is very different. I mean, a lot of our kids have taken a trip to the beach. I've taken the band to the beach to a contest many times. We've seen the Atlantic Ocean, but the Pacific Ocean is quite different.
Right. Specifically from Hawaii. Yes.
Right. So,
but I think that the for these kids, do you think they have any idea what's coming their way?
Absolutely not.
I'll tell you, I think there's so much to learn outside the 4 walls of a classroom.
Right.
And we are very intentional in making sure that we do a Camp Leopold trip with our 5th and 6th graders, traditionally at the middle school. For a lot of times, the first time they're leaving from home, they're going overnight, and it's in a duck reserve. And it's amazing
a duck reserve.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's they do a wonderful job, Camp Leopold.
Okay.
And
heard of that.
and they do have a camp staff that walk you through, and it's nature, right? It's off your phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a star walk at night, looking at the stars and learning about your surroundings and creation, and not just simply in a textbook. The same thing is true with this trip with Pearl Harbor. They're going to be taught about in U.S. history about this event, and these particular 40 kids are going to have a perception and an experience that's just going to be so vivid in their minds as to what had happened that standard in U.S. history is mastered. Now we're not going to be able to ship them over to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa next year or anything along those lines. This is a once in a generation type opportunity to happen. But we're committing to this group to make it happen, and we're excited about what other opportunities may present themselves and for us to pursue. But
it shows you what a community can do when they stand with and behind your kids, or as a community. I think that's the story. The community that is coming together that's already raised $100,000.
It is incredible, and I've shared on here already that our love for the community, but boy, magnified is the love of the community for the school.
Us, yes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so it is a wonderful thing, and they have sacrificed, not just they gave, but they had sacrificed to give these kids an opportunity, and we'll be forever thankful for that.
So how is the final push going to come together, Christy?
I'm still praying. Still doing a lot of praying. We think that we have about $34,000 that we still need to raise, and we have a couple of corporate sponsors that we're hoping will come through for us. We have some promises, but no checks in hand quite yet, and so we're hoping, and we're still accepting donations, and we're still doing fundraisers.
And what if somebody would like to make a donation, Christy? What should they do?
Well, they can mail a check to the high school. It's very easy in Ware Shoals to donate to anything. There's absolutely no red tape with our school district. You put Hawaii in that memo, and that it's going to Hawaii. But you can mail it to the school, or the band has a Venmo that we've accepted donations. We've been very clear that there's only one Venmo that is accepting donations on that behalf, just because we want to, be sure that we keep track of every donation so that everyone is accounted for, that students are writing thank you notes for donations that come in, so we can keep track of everything. Checks are mailed to the school, and Venmo is deposited to the school, and
so what if somebody has questions? Can they reach out and call you, or what should they do?
Absolutely. They can call the high school, and they'll put them through to me. The phone number there is 456-7923. They can email me or Dr. Crockett. I'm C. Hodge, Hodge, at gwd51.org. And Dr. Crockett is the same. He's D. Crockett at GWD51.
Davy Crockett, right? Is that right?
I've been called worse, even by my wife today. So that's okay.
No, you have a wonderful wife.
That's right.
But do you have any? It's a great opportunity with fall coming up and football and this type of thing. What kind of plans do you have for some fundraising activities? Do you have some in the pipeline?
Yes, we have an Elvis impersonator. Is that the Small Town USA fundraiser? Yeah, Elvis is coming to the Ware Shoals Museum, and he'll be there on, I think, is it August 29th that he's coming? So the band will be selling concessions there. We're going to do some hot dogs and things like that at that, and the community will come out again and support us. They'll be donating again. And we have a commemorative 100-year anniversary. Our school is turning 100 years this September. We are so excited to celebrate that first weekend in October. And then, so we're selling like commemorative 100-year blank thank you cards and things like that with a picture of the high school and the years, the dates on it. We have a chicken stew fundraiser coming up.
All the old-fashioned type.
Sure. Yes, we have sold blankets. If you can sell it, we have thought of it, and we've tried to make a lot of different things happen. And I just handed a blanket to a teacher at a school this morning and said, thanks for your order, and we really appreciate that. We've just sold and sold and sold, and to be quite honest, you can sell out a community. They've given and given and given, and we're just so thankful. So it's good to be here with you to a broader audience in Greenwood, so that people, outside of Ware Shoals can hear about our trip and our efforts to raise this money.
Well, I think it is terrific that the school, Ware Shoals, is rising up here. Now, Daniel, I know you are excited about the 100th anniversary. This is something we've been talking about since last year when I first got to meet you. So tell us a little bit about what's going to happen on this 100th anniversary celebration.
Thanks for giving me a chance to push this out. We're hoping our high school is still going to be standing after we have all these alumni coming in. Lots of excitement in our community, and rightfully so. And so we have a committee. It was the Centennial Committee that's been meeting close to 18 months now. That we've met for this once in 100-year event.
Right.
And we're one of the oldest active high schools in the entire state. And it wasn't too long ago, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 5-6 years ago, we were the second most energy efficient. I think it was
energy efficient.
Oh yeah,
wow.
The walls are so thick, and it's just
they built it to last. The Regal Mill built it, and they meant it.
So there's a lot to be proud of, and so we do have an official 100-year rededication ceremony that's going to be taking place on September 30th at 9:30, and so we have made some invitations. I'm hoping some folks will show up. They haven't committed quite yet. Usually they're about a four week before they commit. Do we know where we're going with this?
Right.
Some state officials to come in town, and so that we're excited about that opportunity. All of our kids will be getting together and not only celebrating a rich history, but rededicating ourselves for a bright future. And so that'll take place on Wednesday, and then fall break starts at 3:00, so our students leave. And then it's a full deep clean of the high school, and we are prepping for faculty tailgates to alumni
Alumni,
tailgates,
yeah.
you know, so, you know, hundreds and hundreds of hot
Silent
dogs, hundreds and
auctions.
hundreds of hamburgers just for them to get together. We're not looking for any large fundraisers or anything along that. We're just wanting to can we make an incredible event for our alumni to come back and enjoy the school that they love. And so that's going to include not only the tailgate. We have a huge football game that night, and we'll be recognizing the class of '64 and '82 state championship that have our legacy that they've established there.
Right.
And then they'll have decade reunions. So 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79 at locations across the area, including some in town here. And so that's going to be great. The pancake breakfast, alumni golf event, and then we're going to really tee things off Saturday evening with an all-decade, all-class reunion taking place on Regal Field, live concert, everybody coming in, and so it's just been an act of love, and it is what you put into it, right? If we are pouring ourselves into this just for our alumni to come back and enjoy each other, to reconnect with classmates, and to really be proud of the school that they love is a great opportunity, a major responsibility that we wanted to handle well. But I couldn't be more excited about it. So we have every half hour labeled, you know, from Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. to Saturday evening at 11:30 p.m. Where everybody has to be, where we have to have our marks. So the logistics of that is immense, but couldn't be more excited. Couldn't be more excited.
Now, how is the town about this experience?
There's a buzz. There's a buzz, absolutely, and it's exciting. You know, it is. We have used to have a local paper. The Brain used to do a wonderful job for so many years. So sometimes it's hard to get that message out. But we've been social media, website, word of mouth. We've had class champions that we've tried to have that would make sure that everybody in their class was aware of the event and could be there and to be in town for that. And we have this radio station, and it's pushing it out. So, yeah, we're really excited. Thanks for bringing that up, because that's such a milestone in our history, and we can't wait to get that going.
You know, there is something very special about small towns. You know, there's the everybody knows your name, and there's everybody knows your name, right?
That's right. That's right.
So there's two sides to it, but you're blessed to have a community, and I think it is terrific to see Ware Shoals rebounding and coming forward. I think what you're doing over there at the school is absolutely terrific. So, Daniel, I wanted to ask you, 20 years from now, what do you hope that the students of Ware Shoals school system remember?
Well, I want them to be extremely proud of where they came from. Always be. They'll always be a Hornet. They'll always be proud of the experience that they had in high school. And so much so that they're going to be looking for opportunities for it to continue to be successful, and to give back. I want them to be able to take the skills that they've learned in the classroom and use it in a way that brings them joy, that they find their life's purpose, and they have a really wonderful future ahead of them with a wonderful family, and that they are proud of the experience that they had in our district and are successful. And not only does it mean that be successful in your career, but successful in your family. Great people, you know, that to build that strong moral compass, and that
that's a challenge in today's world.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. There's lots of options, lots of compasses out there. It seems at times, but we focus on making sure that we have a faculty and staff that are incredible role models for them. And to show that strong moral compass, and so they have that example in life, and just I really just want them to be proud of the experience that they had, and to wear that purple and gold with pride as wherever they go, and to say that, you know, yes, I'm proud of the experience I had, and I'm doing very well because of it.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Now, Christy, what would you like them to remember?
Well, you know, band and music is not something that leaves you once you graduate.
Right.
You know, you can be 80 years old and still play your instrument. And that's one thing that's unique about band that, you know, a lot of other, you know, organizations or, you know, clubs or whatever on campus, you know, you can't necessarily go play football when you're, you know, like, you know, just we can continue to do this even when we're older. And
You can always enjoy music.
always, you don't have to major in music in college. You can play in your church orchestra. You can play in your community theater. The Greenwood Community Theater is one of the strongest arts programs that I've ever seen in a community like ours. They're fantastic. And so you can go, I've played in the community theater many times. You know, I hope to give them something that they can use their whole life. This is memories. This is once in a lifetime experiences. This is friendship. This is family. We talk all the time about how a band is a family. And if, you know, one of us needs something, the rest of us are there. They know that. And they will know that when they're 40 years old, when they're 50 years old. You know, we talked in Dr. Crockett's office last, when you came, that school spirit and school pride are two different things. School spirit is just like go team Friday night, rah, rah, rah. School pride is, you know, when I go back to my high school, I graduated from Midland Valley High School in Aiken. I take my band to Midland Valley for a contest every year, and I hope my teachers are sitting in those bleachers because I'm proud of what they would see out of my kids. Like, I want to make them proud because I'm a proud Mustang, you know, I'm proud to be from there. And I tell those kids, boy, the riot act before we go on, this is my school. Like, this is how you're going to act because this is where I'm from. You know, we talk about where you're from a lot, but, you know, so I'm proud of where I came from, and I want them to be proud. I want them to go beyond school spirit, but to be proud of what they've earned and what they've accomplished and what they contributed while they were in school. Nobody wants to come back at homecoming and say, I contributed nothing. I was not involved in anything. I didn't do student council. I didn't do ag. I did nothing. Everybody needs to be involved in something. Everybody needs to contribute. And, you know, 40 years from now, they'll know that they were a part of something great.
And that they were cared for and loved. I think that's the basic thing. When I was in school, I was noticed, and there was people in the building that cared for me. I think that's
huge.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And I think it's huge, particularly in today's world. Well, I just want to say you all have been amazing this afternoon. If you would like to find more out about this Pearl Harbor trip that they're taking, I hope you'll reach out to the school. They would love to talk to you. If you've got an idea for a fundraiser or something like that, please give them your ideas because they are looking to close in and be able to say, we got it covered, right? Isn't that what you'd like to say?
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. There's nothing like a little pressure right here at the end, is
right.
there?
The hardest part of the climb is always near the top of the mountain, right?
That's true. That's true. So today we talked about the band going to Pearl Harbor, but I think what we've really been talking about is something much bigger. We've been talking about what can happen when a community believes in its children and in itself. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you all for coming out today.
Thanks for having us.
It was a pleasure. Miss Ann, you do a wonderful job. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Did you like that, Penny? That was all right. All right, that's going to do it for us here this evening. Let's drop the curtain and say adieu and see you in the morning. I'll be back 9:30 in the morning. Hope you'll be there right here on WCRS Radio. So, check. Start. We're going to start the music, and we're going to say bye-bye, everybody. Take it away. Here we go. Here we go.